What's better, 100% or 53%? Vercel has been killing it lately. They are dropping skills left and right, free and open to the community. Simply put, skills are reusable capabilities for AI agents. The React Best Practices skill alone has over 86,000 installs. They've released skills for web design guidelines, Next.js best practices, agent browser. They've even created an open ecosystem for skills at skills.sh. So they're building all of this out, and then they decide to test it. They published this article. Agents MD outperforms skills in our agent evals. We expected skills to be the solution for teaching coding agents framework-specific knowledge. After building evals focused on Next.js 16 APIs, we found something unexpected. A compressed 8K docs index embedded directly in Agents MD achieved 100% pass rate, while skills maxed out at 79%. They go on to talk about the problem they are trying to solve. AI coding agents rely on training data that becomes outdated. For example, new tech introduces information or ideas that aren't in current model training data. When agents don't know these APIs, they generate incorrect code or fall back to old patterns. They discuss the two approaches for teaching agent framework knowledge. We have skills and we have agents.md. Skills are an open standard for packaging domain knowledge, and agents.md is a markdown file in your project root that provides persistent context to coding agents. Whatever you put in agents.md is available to the agent on every turn without the agent needing to decide to load it, which is the key difference between an agents.md file and a skill. And to be clear, in Claude code, it's called Claude.md. It's the same thing. So next, they built a Next.js docs skill and an agents.md docs index, and then ran them through their eval suite to see which performed better. And they started by betting on skills. They thought that that would win. And this is the interesting part. Skills were not being triggered reliably. In 56% of eval cases, the skill was never invoked. Look at this table. The baseline, where they don't include any docs, their pass rate was 53%, and the skill, adding the skill in that gives it explicit information about of the documentation for Next.js 16, the pass rate was 53%. There was no improvement. The skill existed, the agent could use it, and the agent chose not to. And then, interestingly, read this. On the detailed build lint test breakdown, the skill actually performed worse than the baseline on some metrics, 58% versus 63%. And I had this thought while I was reading this, and I was glad that they tried it. They said they added explicit instructions to the agents.md telling the agent to use the skill. They wrote, before writing the code, first explore the project structure, then invoke the Next.js doc skill for documentation. And that improved the trigger rate to 95+% and boosted the pass rate to 79%. So that's fantastic. That's really nice. So skill with explicit instructions, you can see the improvement here. And then they found something unexpected, that the wording mattered. So they tried different phrasing for this. Sometimes it made it worse, sometimes it made it better. They wrote, the fragility concerned us. If small wording tweaks produced large behavioral swings, the approach feels brittle for production use. Absolutely, that's completely true. They talk about how they set up their evals, which is interesting. You should check that out. They go to the hunch that paid off. What if we removed the decision entirely? Instead of hoping agents would invoke a skill, we could embed a docs directly into agents.md. Not the full documentation, just an index that tells the agent where to find specific doc files. And they added a key instruction into the injected content. Important. Prefer retrieval-led reasoning over pre-training-led reasoning for any Next.js tasks. This tells the agent to consult the docs rather than rely on potentially outdated training data. And the results? 100%, 100%, 100%. Look at this table right here. With the agents.md docs index, a 47% increase, and it was 100% pass rate for the entire stack. Build, lint, and test 100%. So why does passive context beat active retrieval? They have a working theory that comes down to 3 factors. No decision point, like we said. There's no moment where the agent must decide, should I look this up? Consistent availability. and no ordering issues. Skills create sequencing decisions. Read the docs first versus explore project first. Passive context avoids this entirely. And then they talk about addressing the context bloat concern, because that's true. You don't want to load entire documentation into your agents.md file. That would be crazy. That would not make sense. So they say the initial docs injection was around 40 kilobytes. They compressed it down to 8K while maintaining 100% pass rate. And they say they used a compressed format that uses a pipe delimited structure that packs the docs index into minimal space. And you can see it here. So this is what they're talking about. This is the thing that they added into their agents.md file. The agent knows where to find docs without having full content in context. When it needs specific information, it reads the relevant file from the next docs directory. Then they set this up so you could try it yourself if you want to check this out. And the link to this blog post will be in the description. So read this if you're interested in some of the more finer details here. And they close out with practical recommendations. They say, don't wait for skills to improve. I agree with that. Compress aggressively. You don't need full docs in context. Absolutely, that's true. They say test with evals. And I think this one is interesting. You could even co-create this with Claude or your favorite agent. And design for retrieval. Structure your docs so agents can find and read specific files rather than needing everything up front. The goal is to shift agents from pre-training-led reasoning to retrieval-led reasoning. Agents.md turns out to be the most reliable way to make that happen. One final thought I have is that this feels like the type of thing that foundational models and agents will get better at over time. And so I do wonder how long this technique will outperform skills, but it's fascinating to see the current state of it. And I'm really interested, are any of you seeing this right now? How are you seeing skills perform for you? Are you testing things out? And if you're not, try it out and hit me up in the comments and let me know what you're seeing. Please like and subscribe. We have so much more coming down the road, and we'll see you next time.